CARE Uganda got its start in Grant, Nebraska, as a partner of the orphan ministry Children's Hope Chest.
About 8 years ago, several of us had a burden to do some work in Africa to take care of orphans, and we loaded up in the car, went to Colorado Springs, and met with Children's Hope Chest. And so we have 3 countries where you could go to. You could go to Ethiopia, Swaziland, or Uganda. And what I liked about Uganda, a couple of things. One, we could present the gospel with no restrictions. And then they also said, now, Uganda, we don't have any infrastructure. And it's like at the end of the road, like at south of Dickens would be a good example. So I said, a group of us farmers, that's perfect. So that's where we want to go.
On launch day, all 100 children were sponsored by the local church. The best part of the story, however, didn't surface until years later when a group from the ministry traveled to Uganda.
Another story that I think is really even more intriguing, and I didn't find this out till 2 or 3 years later, that one of the guys that has a church there, he and 3 pastors, they went up on this high hill in the back of Kayango, and they were going to fast and pray for 3 days and 3 nights and pray for someone that would want to come to this remote village of Uganda. And so these 3 guys, they go up for 3 days, 3 nights, and all of a sudden, it starts lightning and raining, but they were just determined that they were going to stay there. They weathered the storm. They said the 3 of them just huddled together and grabbed each other to keep warm, no tent or anything. And then when the rain quit, then the mosquitoes came. They prayed, and then the mosquitoes subsided, and they came down off that mountain after 3 days and 3 nights up there. No food, no water, and just praying.
The village these men were praying for? Kayango. The Lord had answered the cries of his people in Uganda.
That was the Lord guiding us to Uganda without us even knowing it.
After several years and trips over the ocean, the organization has grown from children meeting in a pastor's home for meals and devotions to a 5-acre plot of ground that serves as a care center known as the Kayango Children's Kirukiro, meaning place of refuge. We officially became CARE Uganda in the spring of 2013 and are completely funded by members of the local community. Currently, CARE Uganda oversees the sponsorship of needy children in Kayango, Uganda. We connect one child in Uganda with one sponsor in the United States. Our sponsors are directly invested in the lives of these children through monthly financial support, intentional prayer, and letter writing. Currently, we care for 162 children in the village, and each child's $40 sponsorship is used to teach them about Jesus Christ, provide them with a Christian education, meet their immediate needs, equip them to be self-sufficient, and encourage them to use newfound hope, education, and skills to change their community and country.
The last command Jesus gave us was to make disciples, make learners of him. So one of our really primary goals is to help children who have not had an exposure, most of them, to the gospel, of making sure that they have consistent Bible studies as a part of their curriculum, that they have Bibles that they can read, that teachers pray with them during the school day. On Saturdays, many times they come together just for learning the Word of God in some very wonderful and exciting ways. And so we think discipleship is a key and a foundation to everything that we do there.
Schools in Kayango suffer from extreme overcrowding. Private schools in the area have tuition rates that are unaffordable for most residents of Kayango, so most children do not have the privilege of receiving an education. CARE Uganda set out to change that. Currently, 112 of our sponsored children call New Hope Primary School or Standard High School home. 50 of our sponsored children attend the newly opened CARE Uganda Education Center on the KCK property, a long-time dream since we began ministering in Kayango.
One of the things that has always broke my heart when I have gone to Kayango after we fenced that 5 acres was watching just scores and scores of the village children that were not being supported by us, hanging on the fence on the outside. And I would watch those children and just think, Lord, There has to be a way to provide a safe and secure place for these children. About a year and a half ago, that dream began to become a reality. And due to the generosity of many in our community, we were able this time last year to raise enough money to build the first level of this school building that is completely done and now being used by 50 of those kids who hung on the outside of the fence. Now they're on the inside. They come every morning excited to learn. We've hired 3 teachers. We have 3 administrators. We have a goat keeper. It has become a full-blown operation to minister to these children in a very holistic way. It's a very exciting thing.
The Education Center opened its doors in the spring of 2016 to 25 Primary 1 students and 25 Primary 2 students. These children aren't currently boarded on the property like the students that attend school in Bugiri, but as we fully finish both floors of the building, that is the long-term goal. Seeing this building come to fruition has brought more than just the opportunity for solid, affordable education from Kayango's youth. It has increased commerce and employment due to needed construction, finishings, electrical work, teaching positions, grocery demands, clothing requirements, and typical school necessities. The Care Uganda Education Center will only grow in size and scope from this point forward and will be a staple in transforming Kayango for Christ. Providing these children with nutritious foods is one of the most important parts of this ministry. The children are served 3 hot meals a day, a rarity in this culture.
You know, when it started, they were getting 1 meal a week, you know, compared to a school that's running now. And when they come, they have porridge in the morning, which is posho, and I would say it's the consistency of cream of wheat and with a little bit of sugar in it. It's actually pretty good. So that's their little breakfast. And then posho and beans. Posho is simply ground up cornmeal. It's white over there. And with beans on it, so it's a complete protein. And then when things are good, we'll have rice and beans. And then almost every time when we come on our trips, we buy some beef and put in there.
Skilled medical care is very scarce in and around Kayango. The majority of our sponsored children have never received medical treatment of any kind until they set foot in our ministry. Upon entering our program, children are put through a medical screening where they are tested for diseases common to the area, as well as given a basic physical. The children are also taught basic hygienic care and are supplied with soap and sanitary products as needed during the school year. In caring for these children, we also find it important to care for their community.
When we came into Kayango, there were so many people there who were in desperate need physically, but also spiritually, emotionally, in so many ways. And so we have made a point in the last 7 years of doing what we can to reach out to that community and show them a holistic approach that Jesus Christ would have for them. One of the very first things we did was we drilled a borehole. Now, for we who are Americans, we would call that a well. They call it a borehole. And we made that borehole available not just to our children, but to that entire village. Now, that's a big thing in Africa, a huge thing of providing clean, good water. And I can tell you, every time I go there, that pump is moving. People are there day and night pumping water. About once a year, at least, we bring a team in. We bring doctors and nurses, and we provide health services, diagnosis, as well as medical treatment and medicine for those who are in great need. And it is amazing to watch how that has grown. People line up for a couple of days now, and it is nothing to see 500 or 600 people come through in 2 or 3 days and are ministered to in that way. We have a man by the name of Saul who oversees our ministry in Kayango. And one of the things he does is about once a month now, he invites the community and all the guardians of these children that we're ministering to come together and to give him input on what they would like to see and how they could be involved in what we are doing in that property. They have helped us stretch fence around the 5 acres that we bought. On their own, they came and built a kitchen, which now we have modernized, and it is just going to be a tremendous help in there. So, reaching children who have to go home right now, every night, it is important for us that we're also having an impact on the community as well.
The Care Center has many teaching tools these kids need to be self-sufficient.
Along with our education, we have goats on the property. We have chickens, a little small orchard there with orange trees and mango trees and things like that. Bricklaying, we've had 2 people graduate from bricklaying, very practical. So we're working on not only just reading and writing, but in this area, most of these students are not going to go off to university. So these practical skills are very important.
Several of our older students are working towards certification in bricklaying and concrete practice, hairdressing and salon management, nursing and midwifery, catering and teaching, just to name a few. The completion of these specific programs will allow these young adults to earn an income doing something they are skilled at and enjoy, something their families may not have been able to do for generations.
The mission of Care Uganda is to see the lives of children transformed in a holistic way. That means transformed physically by meeting many of their physical needs. Educationally, we want to meet their educational needs to help them prosper as they grow older. And also, we want to see them transformed spiritually, where they have a personal, not a religious, but a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, who is their Savior.
Kayango has long been a place of hopelessness. It's experienced poverty, deprivation, scarce medical care, few job possibilities, and inconsistent incomes. But Care Uganda is set on changing that. No longer will these children struggle to find work. They now have educations and skills and full-time careers. No longer will they have to scrounge for food. They now know how to grow it, raise it, or have means to procure it. No longer will they have to wonder if they will survive another day. They now know they have been given the tools to thrive. No longer will they have to search for hope in the things of this world. They now know their hope is in Jesus.
With God, nothing is impossible. And to me, that's what Care Uganda represents. That's the testimony, that's the witness, not just in America, but that is the witness, believe me, in Uganda, that with God, nothing is impossible. And that's Care Uganda.
That is Care Uganda.
That is Care Uganda.